Hey friends, welcome into the Leadership Sandbox. I'm Tammy J, your host, and super excited that we are launching this 6-part series, The Communication Lies Leaders Believe. And in the Sandbox, I want to tell you this truth. Most leadership breakdowns aren't because of strategy or skill or even resources. They happen because leaders are operating on lies, myths that they've been told, or worse, myths they told themselves about how communication works in the workplace. Things like, if they say they're overwhelmed, I just need to support them more. If I avoid hard conversations, it'll keep the peace. If I wait long enough, they'll figure it out. If they have a real problem, they'll come and tell me. Now, over the next 6 episodes, we're going to be dismantling these lies one by one by one. And you're going to get truth bombs, you're going to get stats, you're going to get the exact steps to lead with clarity, confidence, and zero tolerance of workplace trauma. And if you're ready to step in and you're ready to replace hesitation with decisive action and stop playing nice when your team needs you to play smart, this series is for you. So let's get into it with our first episode in the series called, You Know What? Hey, friends, they're not overwhelmed. They're underperforming. So let's get into it in 3, 2, 1, into the sandbox. Let's go. All right, welcome back into the Sandbox. Here we are for They're Not Overwhelmed, They're Just Underperforming. Here's a real scenario that just happened about, a few weeks ago with me. I was having a conversation with the director, and he was frustrated telling me about how this individual, they continuously come in and say how overwhelmed they are with all of the work, and they're really struggling to manage everything. And what I found in the conversation is I gave this, coach, this director on, so how do you have a bold conversation about what is overwhelmed? What does that look like? And when they say they're overwhelmed, what does that actually mean? And what is the actual workload that these individuals are doing? And have we looked at their time blocking? How many minutes are they spending on their breaks? And how much are they up and away from their desk? How many meetings are they having? Because if they can't tell you in detail what their day-to-day looks like, you can't tell me that you're overwhelmed. What that means is they're not overwhelmed. They're avoiding the responsibility of the job that you've given them to do. And it could be for multiple reasons. Because when we say overwhelm, I think we've used that. It's kind of like a few years ago where I have anxiety. Yes, anxiety is a real thing. I'm not downplaying overwhelm, and I'm not downplaying anxiety. What I am saying is that people have become accustomed to using that as an operating norm. And instead of getting the clarity of what's causing that in your workplace, they just pass it off as that's what it is. And leaders have bought into that, and they're not digging in to get underneath to ask the deeper questions to get to the root of the cause of the problem. So it may have nothing to do with work. It could have something completely to do with outside of work. Who knows? But here's your opportunity. You want to define the limiting belief for them as well as for you. And you want to actually start some tactical steps to make some changes. And this is what we're going to talk about today. Exactly how to get them from this, they're overwhelmed, to they're actually performing and they're actually meeting their obligations. Otherwise, they need to step off and move out. See, what I want to help transform is this victim narrative, because here's what it sounds like. The victim narrative sounds like things like, I can't do it all. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know how to get everything done that's expected of me. You're giving me too much. You're not communicating clearly with me. Okay, so we're going to change that, because here's the reality. 70% of struggling employees blame external factors for their missed goals, thanks to Harvard Business Review. And I love what Brene Brown says, unspoken expectations are simply premeditated resentments. So when your employees aren't stating what their expectations are, when you're not stating what your expectations are, we're actually building up toward that resentment, and it's up to us to transform it. So here's the strategy that we're going to walk through. I'm going to give you a squeeze technique. because that's how to press for specifics when someone says I'm overwhelmed. Because when they just use that blanket generic excuse, it's up to you as the leader to transform that into the specifics so that they can solve for it themselves. It's not for you to solve, it's for them to solve. You're going to help them with the tools on how to do that. And we're going to get out of this victim mindset and get into a better framework of how we take personal accountability and ownership. Because here's the reality. Here's what this can sound like sometimes. When they start coming to you with these excuses, right? These excuses of, I don't know how, I don't know what, right? They've got all these different excuses that they're giving to you on what their issues are in the workplace. You then get to go, show me your calendar. Let's sit down and time block. You're going to have 20-minute check-ins with them daily to make sure that they have all the resources that they need. They're going to define for you what the resources are that they need. And the closer that you bring these people in and hold them to tighter, responsible, accountable timelines, smaller timelines and deliverables, that puts the squeeze on them. And when we put the squeeze on them by pressing for specifics, what gets exposed is their lack of willingness to follow through with what you said. And then you get to push that into how we flip it up to like no more excuses, or it's going to get escalated and it's going to become something documented. You're going to document all of it. And what I love about this, when we ask for specifics, when we apply the squeeze technique of getting into the details and the specifics of exactly what they need to do, what you expect from them, because that's getting that clarity piece, it puts the squeeze on them. Why is that important when someone's coming saying, I'm overwhelmed? No, you're just underperforming, because it exposes the underperformance and the lack of overwhelmment, but also exposes the unwillingness to make the change. And then what you get to do is escalate it to that next level. Right. And the final part of that is it flips the excuses to ownership. And if they don't start to take ownership, once you've exposed for them where the problem is, guess what? Then you get to help self-select them out of your team and into a different role. They'll self-select themselves because they won't like that squeeze impact. So it's not about being overwhelmed. It's about lack of responsibility. And your job as a leader is to help them see where their responsibility is and what that expectation is, because you're going to bring that clarity. And even if that means you're going to be scheduling more time with them every single day, the first 20 minutes of the day that they get in the office, you're going to be asking them to bring to you what it is they have on their day for that day, what resources they need to be successful that day. And then you're going to ask them for a check-in at the end of the day. And that might feel like micromanaging. It is not. You know, I don't like micromanaging for the purpose of I'm trying to control everything, but it is tightly putting the squeeze on people to manage the expectations that you have for them, that they have for themselves, for the opportunity or the outcome that you're looking for them to perform at. Listen, ask for specifics, apply the squeeze to it by having those very short, frequent daily meetings with them on what they need, right? Or let them know we're going to be escalating it, and you're going to document, hey, Joe, thanks for joining me for that 20-minute check-in today. Here's what I got from that meeting that you're going to be doing by the end of today. If you need any other resources, you're going to let me know, or you're going to let Frank know. And I thank you for that time. You're going to document that in email, because if they do not choose to perform at that level, you have that documentation for the escalation. And that starts to then, how do you flip excuses into ownership? You start saying to them, no, actually, that you transform their excuse into, so what's your role in it? I hear that that's the excuse. So what's your role in it? And they're going to be, it's not mine. It's somebody else. No, we're going to reflect the mirror back on you. Tell me how you could have done that different. Tell me how you could have managed that different. What is it that you needed to have be different? What was the question that you asked so that it was different? Those things are the opportunities for you to actually ask, so that you turn it around into their own personal ownership and their own personal accountability. So here's the thing, friends. The lies that you believe because you're afraid that you don't want to step on somebody's toes if they've said, they're overwhelmed, and somehow you think you're supposed to put on the magic cape and go in and fix that for them, you can't. There's no way that you can. What you can do is get clarity. What you can do is get them to take ownership of what they're responsible for, what it is they're actually doing that's causing the overwhelm. Get them to name it and claim it. Otherwise, they're going to continue to spin the story all around you, so you get distracted. Let's remember, they're not overwhelmed. They're underperforming, and it's up to you, friend. It's you as the leader, you as the manager, whatever your role is. You got to get the clarity for you to step in and actually cause them to take a different approach. Because listen, if they're saying things like they're overwhelmed, you might be thinking, I just need to support them. No, you need to actually ask them specifics about what's overwhelming them. It's not about you, it's about them. If you avoid having that hard conversation because you want to keep the peace, that's another lie that you're telling yourself. Stop that. You're better than that. It's not about keeping the peace. It's about getting clarity to get the expectations out there so that they get the job done. If you wait long enough, if you're thinking, if I just wait, they'll figure it out. Nope, they're not going to. Because why? Because they've got the number from your book. You gave it to them. They know how to help you wait long enough so they can continue to duck and cover and avoid the responsibility of the role. Stop that. You're better than that. Stop believing these lies that somehow it's all going to get better and go away. Nope, you're the one to make it go away. You're the one to toe the line, hold the expectation, cause people to be responsible for what they said that they're going to do for the job description, even if you have to lay it out. I was talking to one person and said, get the job description. If they say that's not in their job duty statement, pull it out. And then you make sure it's part of the job expectations that you have, even if it's for a month, for a quarter, whatever it is, no matter what the job duty statement is, what it says. That's another thing. That's another episode. I digress. So we're going to dismantle these lies one by one over the next few weeks. You're going to get some truth bombs that are going to come in your lap, and they're going to hit you hard. I'm going to give you statistics. I'm going to give you the exact steps to start leading with that clarity, confidence, and zero tolerance in drama, because it's not serving you and it's distracting us. And right now in the world, the way that it's going right now, we don't have time to be distracted. What we need is to be on point, driving home the actual reality of what it is we're creating in our leadership sandbox today. Hey, make it a great day. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time for our next episode in the Sandbox. You're not mean, you're just managing. That's where we're going to go next with the communication lies leaders believe. I'll see you next time in the Sandbox. Make it a great day.
Thanks for joining us in the Leadership Sandbox today. Are you ready to get serious about disrupting those old habits and building a culture you're proud of? Head over to leadershipsandbox.com/groups to get on the wait list for our upcoming mastermind groups starting in September. Culture doesn't change alone, and neither should you. Did this episode resonate with you? We'd love if you'd give it a like and a share. Be a part in helping us spread our reach to other leaders who could benefit from hearing this message. Also, subscribe to this podcast so you can continue to gain great leadership content weekly. Until next time, we'll see you in the Sandbox.